Good evening and welcome to Today with John Perlman. My name is McFarlane Moleli. I'm standing in for John. This evening we're hosting a special broadcast as part of Kaya's Drug Awareness Week. Communities across the country have been torn apart by substances such as nyaupe, tuk and cat. The question is, how are we going to win this battle against drugs? Well, tackling the drug problem in our communities is not something that individual families can do on their own. It also requires communities, government, as well as business to come together. And that's why tonight I'm in a room full of community members from Braam Fishcherville and representatives from government as well. You can also take part in the conversation by tweeting at Kaya95.9 at McMoleli and use the hashtag #IamClean. You can also send your comments via Facebook on the Today with John Perlman page. A quick introduction of who my guests are and some of the people that we're going to be having a conversation with tonight. Later on, joining us, we've got MEC Nandi Mayathula Khoza, who's our social development MEC here in Gauteng. We've got Lieutenant K. Makhubela, spokesperson for the South African Police Services from Soweto. We've got Charmaine, a resident from Braam Fishcherville, to our two guests that have arrived, and also to our community. How's it, guys? Good evening. Yeah, we've got our whole community here from Braam Fishcherville as well, and people representing different organizations to speak about this issue of drugs and drug abuse and what it is doing to our communities. Let me start by speaking to Charmaine. Charmaine, good evening. Welcome to Kaya FM.
Hi, good evening.
Thank you very much for taking your time to be with us today. This is a very personal subject here that we're going to be talking about, something that is not only tearing families apart, it's tearing entire communities apart, it's tearing our country apart. And even if you look at some of the stats that are coming out, especially in South Africa, we do have a huge problem on our hands. When you look at our latest unemployment figures and you see what is happening within our communities, majority of our youth, young people in the communities that we live in are hooked on drugs. And this is something that is endemic in many communities throughout South Africa.
Yes.
But let's speak about Braam Fishcherville.
Okay.
Take me through what a day in Braam Fishcherville is like for a young person.
Thanks for having us anyway. We have a problem where the kids wake up. They have nothing to do. So you'll find kids just wake up standing at the corners looking for someone to help them to buy nyaupe or whatever else they are smoking there. We don't have a community center. We don't have anyone, any groups to help them to uplift themselves. We don't have any future for them. The only thing they can do is run around, sit on the streets. I mean, a normal working day where normally you would find kids gone to school, people are going to work, kids are going to university. You come to Braam Fishcherville, we just have people hanging out on the streets because there's nothing else for the youths to do. We have no community center, we have no library, we have no way for them to get upliftment. We don't have any big brother groups, so to call. You come from Soweto, you only come on weekends with your 4x4s, but you don't put anything back into where you come from. And that was my biggest challenge, is to get the community, get people who grew up in the location, come back, guys, help each other. Be a big brother, be a big sister. Don't just come to Soweto and show us your 4x4s and your Land Rovers and expect all of us to go, ish, wabona wena. You understand? Let's just put back, take these kids off the nyaupe, because nyaupe is so addictive, and it's 30 rand for them to have one smoke. So if they're not working. So you have to ask yourself, where are they getting the money from this?
Now, when these sort of things happen, when you start having a lot of these problems taking place, especially within communities like Braam Fishcherville, the question that you ask yourself is, where are the parents? Where are the family structures? What needs to be done so that those kids can be told? I mean, when we grew up, if you were in the street, somebody's mother would say, "Hey, where's Anstrating?"
Exactly.
Those kind of things. So it also speaks to the issue of family structures, to say, are there no family structures? Are there no parents? Are there no adults that can help in this problem that we're faced with?
I think there are parents. But don't forget, the parents also have a high rate of unemployment. And unfortunately, with the nyaupe, the kids get violent. So if they don't get it, they abuse the parents. I mean, I have situations where some of the parents come to my place because the kids are getting violent. If they don't get it, they become violent. And, talking about the parents, they also unemployed. So they're also trying to survive. So we have to get back into the community and give back. And obviously it starts with family. So that's what I'm trying to do. I mean, none of these kids are my kids. They're not my blood kids. But just like, your child is my child is your child. We're supposed to stand together as a community. And that's what I'm trying to do in Braam Fischer. I use my house kind of like a community center, and sometimes there's so much I can do also. So, we need somebody, whether it's social development, whether it's companies, whether it's somebody to come to us and say, listen, we can build you guys a community center. So when the kids feel, when they come out of wherever they're coming from, or parents have problems, there should be one place they can go to.
I just want to go now, quickly now to Lieutenant K. Makhubela from the South African Police Services. Lieutenant, we've got a problem here. We've got a problem of drug abuse. We've got a social problem. We've got a family structures problem. We also grew up in communities where how no bona vene amaponesa you'd run. How no bona vene amaponesa you knew there was some sort of visible policing, and if you were getting up to nonsense, you would get into trouble. But it looks like we've lost that in the communities. People, one, do not trust the police. Secondly, also they feel like they cannot go to them to try and get some sort of help. How do we change this? Because, when Charmaine speaks about the big brother aspect, that's what police should be. You should know, I can't open a drug den there because the police are going to catch me. But it seems like they're getting away with it.
Thank you very much. I'm Captain K. Makhubela.
Sorry, Captain.
Must I send No problem.
Yes.
The issue of drugs it's a problem, and it's a concern to us as the police. And to show us that it's a concern to us, we have got a program where we go to schools and talk to the children at school, all levels of grades. And we also go to churches, talking to the church, educate them how they can help their children and what to report if they see the signs from their children to the police, so that we can help them. And when we are at the schools, sometimes we go educating, sometimes we go raiding the schools. And we do that through the information from the other learners who are at school, indicating that there are children who are selling drugs within the schools. And we make sure that when we go there, we search and take those learners, and they will be put in a program through court, where they are the probation officers who will try to help the children to get away from the drugs. And moreover, we need these children to tell us where they are getting these drugs, so that those people who are selling those drugs, they can be arrested. Yes, you found sometimes people are not trusting the police to report or to give the information to say this is the problem and where is the drugs are sold. But we are appealing, if there are people who you don't trust from the police, who you know that you cannot trust this van which is driving along the road, there are police station. We have got a station commander who is the manager of that particular station, who is the manager of all those policemen who are there. He will make sure that he take your case and your case will be investigated.
I'd just like to welcome our MEC, Sis Nandi Mayathula Khoza, our Social Development MEC. Mama, good evening, and thank you for joining us here on Kai FM. I know that you've just come in now, but there's a lot of things that we've been speaking about. There's a lot of issues that have come up in the short space of time that we've had to conversate about this issue. We've spoken about family structures. We've spoken about the issue of not having enough community parks, not having enough things for children or the youth to be able to do within their communities, for them to be able to be taken away from drugs, to take their mind away from eventually falling into drugs. And in a manner of speaking, that falls directly on your shoulders. shoulders, that falls on the shoulders of the Department of Social Development. What are we doing to socialize our kids and to provide them with means that they can be able to be taken away from drugs, and how do we rebuild these kind of communities? Because it is a multiplicity of issues that these kids are faced with, but where should we be starting as a department to try and clean up these communities, and what programs are there?
Okay, thank you very, very much. Firstly, let me apologize for arriving a little bit late. I was driving very, very fast. I'm happy to be here. Indeed, we believe that the issue of drug abuse in South Africa, in Gauteng in particular, is a responsibility of everybody. Government has a role to play. All departments of government have a role to play. The community has a role to play. The South African police have a role to play, as Captain was also trying to explain. So that's why, as Gauteng government, led by the Premier of Gauteng, Premier Makhubela, we then decided to form what is called the Gauteng Social Movement Against Drugs, to get almost everybody involved, right? And as Gauteng government, we indeed have social development, who is responsible mainly for preventing and treating people who are already using drugs. And that's why in Gauteng we have about 5 inpatient treatment centers already that are taking care of those young people who are using drugs, and we have many other outpatient treatment centers where we assist young people to get treated and go back to their communities. But indeed, it is important to say that we need to prevent, because we are interested not only on treatment, because the root cause of people taking drugs is about the poor socioeconomic conditions where our people stay. And you correctly say that in communities such as Diepsloot and other communities, we would need to ensure that there are facilities there for young people to be busy, so that we don't find any young people who are idle, because an idling mind can actually be tempted to do a criminal or whatever activities that are not contributing positively to society. So yes, it is then the role of government, in particular the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, to work together with the communities, together with the youth clubs, the young people themselves, because communities must also organize themselves, organize young people into youth clubs. But we also have non-governmental organizations that are doing a lot of good work already. So our role as government is to facilitate and coordinate and make sure that each and every role player and stakeholder participates in ensuring that indeed young people are actively involved in their own communities. Yes, we need to build facilities. Local government as well as provincial government departments need to ensure that there are these facilities in communities. In some communities you find facilities, in other communities you don't find these facilities, and that's why you then find young people idling and getting tempted to actually get used to drugs. So we must work together in this social movement against drugs to rebuild our communities, to rebuild our young people, to rebuild each other in doing constructive things in our communities.
Let me see it's important, and I hear what you're saying. Charmaine, you are involved directly with the community. You are involved directly with a lot of these kids. Charmaine is a resident of Braam Fishcherville, where there's a huge problem of this. Now, the MEC has spoken about a lot of things. We go back to the times when we grew up. There was ballroom dancing. There was soccer that could be played. There was karate, and all of these centers were available for us as kids to be able to go to. Those are the kind of communities we've grown up in. What is failing in your communities for us to be able to start doing those things, or to rebuild on those things that we grew up with, or to try and bring them in? Are there no NGOs? Do you not have contact with the department? Why is it that we cannot reintroduce these things back into the community, or are the kids not interested?
The kids are interested. I've been in contact with Kaya since January. I've been sending emails. We don't have, and I can't blame the councillor because I have no idea who he is in the first place. But we can't really blame anybody. We have to blame ourselves because we don't have a soccer field. We don't have a library. If the kids want to read, they mostly come to my house and borrow books. If they need advice on something, they come to me. So Charmaine, there's this happening, that happening. I've been trying to get people to build us a soccer field. The most simplest thing is a soccer field. we don't have that. We have empty spaces where people are dumping, where we could use it to build a soccer field. So, Mrs. Nandi, if maybe you could help us, get us a community center, or, put a library in there, so the kids, they don't have computer skills. Like to get a job for them is so difficult because most of them don't have computer skills. And my one of the things I discussed with Lindy is that if we could, it's easy to say, let's take these kids to the rehabs. The rehabs is a whole nother story that I don't even want to get into, because from what I've heard from Bara, we've had a child, one of our kids going there. They lock the kids up. They lock them up. There's no rehab. They just take these kids, throw them in there, lock the door. The kids broke out and they refuse to be there. So if they can help us to get a proper rehabilitation. The other thing is, some of these rehab centers are asking for money. And most of the parents are not working. Get us a proper rehab. Let's put them into a trade. Let them go to trade school, learn electricity or plumbing, because these things can see them, their hands can take them to 60 years, and then bring them back into the community.
Okay, we're going to come back on this topic. We speak about tackling the drug problem in our communities, and we can see and we can hear from our speakers that are here today. We've got Nandi Mayathula Khoza, the Social Development MEC, and Captain K. Makhubela, spokesperson for the South African Police Services, Charmaine Menning, residents from Braam Fishcherville, as well as some residents from Braam Fishcherville. And today we're speaking about the issue of drug problems in our communities. What are you doing as a community? What are your NGOs doing? What's the police doing? What's the Department of Social Development doing? With us in studio today, we're speaking to the MEC for Social Development, Nandi Mayathula Khoza, Captain K. Makhubela, spokesperson for the South African Police Services. We've got Charmaine Menning, residents from Braam Fishcherville, as well as the community of Braam Fishcherville that are joining us here in our KFM studios. We're having a discussion around the issue of drugs. Earlier on, we heard that communities are faced with a multiplicity of issues. 1, family structures breaking down. 2, alcoholism within the communities. 3, parenting, lack of services, lack of community centers. So there's many things that are affecting communities and ideally leading to the issue of drug abuse in the communities. But one of the other most important things is about police visibility, what police are doing and what role can they play about this. And I'm going to pose this question directly to Captain K. Makhubela from the South African Police Services. A lot of people are saying this is one of the most important aspects of starting to deal with the problem first, nipping it in the bud, making sure that drug dealers are arrested, making sure that drugs do not go back into the streets, making sure that the police as well do not work with drug dealers in order for drugs not to come in there. So the first question is, where do we start? Does it start with visible policing, or does it start with working hand in hand with the community? What solutions do you have?
Well, we've got the Community Policing Forum, and I believe the community of Braam Fisher, they might have the CPF in their area. And secondly, we have got the sector system which is working in our policing areas, because we have posted cars which are patrolling around the sectors, and we have divided the areas to make sure that those cars which are being deployed to that particular sector, they patrol left and right. From time to time they are driving there, so that when you phone, if you have got a problem, so they can be responding very quickly. So that is the mechanism which we have put on. And besides that, we have got allocated the police at each school, where we have got the school monitoring, who have adopted those particular schools, and then they are trying to get facts, information. If there are things which are supposed to be resolved quickly, the police are always there at the particular school. And also, there are raids which we are doing with the information which we are getting from the community members, raiding those places, raiding the places where there are liquor, raiding the places where they are selling these drugs. Those are the places, the mechanism which have been put in place. So those things are done from time to time.
I'm quickly going to go, and I know, Charmaine, you probably have a lot to say. I'm going to let you speak last, right? So let me allow our MEC to quickly come in there. You know, some people have come out and said that drugs are not necessarily a criminal issue, but rather a social issue as a result of unemployment. And, you know, it's obviously easy to say that, because at the end of the day, also, people have their choices. You can make that choice, because I'm sure not the whole of Braam Fishcherville is in the streets doing nothing. There's a lot of people that have made something of their lives, even under the worst of circumstances. But it is also a valid point when they say it's not necessarily a criminal issue, but it's also a social issue. So something needs to be done to make sure the environment is conducive to people becoming successful, and that is something that the social development department needs to deal with.
Yes, of course. This is a social challenge. Hence, we are saying everybody needs to take responsibility to actually fight drug abuse in communities. And for me, it starts with prevention. You know, if we can get our people, young people, even older people, not even to start taking drugs, the better. But of course, you are correct to say that it's really about, you know, social challenges like unemployment, poverty, etc. Because when we, for example, take the young people from the streets of Johannesburg, Hillbrow, and we ask them a question: why are you here? Why are you not at home? Why are you taking drugs? They say it's because nobody works at home. We are poor. We don't have food. And so that we can be able to buy food and actually send some money back home. So indeed, it is correct to say that these are social problems. So for me, in the first instance, it's preventing drug taking by our young people from home. We as parents have a big responsibility to play to actually ensure that our young people don't get into drugs. But if they do get into drugs, we can then intervene at a very, very early stage. And I must say that, yes, I hear Charmaine saying that there are some, rehabs that are probably not doing good work. And I'm going to encourage everybody to report those rehab centers if they are in. I have not received any report from the Bara Rehab Center, for example, but indeed, Charmaine, please report this to me so that we can actually address that problem if it is happening. But I have not received a report. So that's about treatment. It's very, very important. That's why we have inpatient treatment centers, because when a young person or an older person is already taking drugs, the next thing to do is to take that person to a rehab. And we must make sure that indeed our rehabs are working very well. I can tell you about Dr. FNF in Tshwane that has actually taken about 300. I took these 300 young people to the rehab center, but also to Verporki. Verporki, I think, is in Eguruleni. We took some of them to Krisani Para, and we took some of them to Randfontein already, a very newly established rehab center. And those who were taken at Dr. FNF, when I visited there, they had completed the 8 weeks. It's supposed to take 6 weeks. They completed the 8 weeks treatment program. And from there, we asked them, what then do you want to do? Because we don't want you to go back to the streets. They said, we want jobs. Others said, we want businesses. We already have diplomas, some of them. And then we have taken them to a center of excellence, a skills training center. I think it's in Soshanguve, where they are now being trained on plumbing, on electricity, on construction, on a lot of skills that they can use for them to be employed. Through TEPO 500,000, we are going to make sure that these young people are then employed. Those who want to form businesses are assisted also to actually form the business. Because if young people are very busy and they are contributing to their lives, the lives of their families, the lives of Gauteng and contributing to the economy, I think we will probably get it right. But what is also important is aftercare. Aftercare, as well as reintegration into the community. Some of the young people we took to the rehabs, we reintegrated them with the families. They had been on the streets for 7 years, some for 10 years, and parents, they were crying together. The young people and the parents were crying, holding each other, saying, thank you very much. I have not seen my child for 7 years. And the young people were also very, very happy. So reintegration into families, into communities is very, very important. The family structure is very, very important. That's why as social development, we even have a program on family empowerment. So we request everybody who sees in a community there's a struggling family there. Children seem to do as they please and they're taking drugs and nobody is looking after them. Please call 0800 428 That's a social development call center number where families, individuals can be assisted.
Thank you very much, MEC, for that. Charmaine, I'm going to allow you to speak last. We heard from Captain K. Makhubela speaking about the different intervention programs that they have as police. And you can hear that there needs to be a lot of cohesion between what the police are doing and what the community tells them. We know that there are programs from government that are there. Why then do we have such a problem in Braam Fishcherville? Do these things not exist for you guys? What needs to be done?
We don't see it. We basically, and no offense, Captain, Ma'am Nandi, no offense, but we don't see all these things going on. The only time I had someone from social development come is after I had approached Lindy on Kaya FM, and then the next day I had like 6 social workers come to my house at one time just to ask me what the problem was. And that's the only time they came. I haven't got a phone call back from them. They haven't done anything. So we don't see them putting any effort into it. And even with the police, you are saying the police has this, they drive around, they're checking this and that. We do not see police vans. If we see a police van, we're like, yo, but whom? And then somebody who's killing who here. That's the only thing we think of. We don't see them putting any activeness. They don't come around, check the kids. If you can drive to Braam Fischer, you will find kids on the corners, even smoking Zol or having a beer or whatever. But the police, I've not seen them. If some policeman can show me that they're there all the time, then we can say something. But we don't see it. Maybe he can advise our community how do we go about and saying, and in Braam Fischer, we don't have a police station. If we have a problem, we have to go to Dobsonville. Braam Fischer 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's no police station. We have to go to Dobsonville. So I don't know when we're going to get a police station.
Okay, Charmaine, it's quite interesting that you say that, and I know that you speak on behalf of the community. Obviously, you're also from the community. I'm going to allow one of the community members to please come to the front here. As we said, we've got an entire studio full of people here. We've got the police, we've got our MEC, we've also got the community of Braam Fishcherville. So we want to hear from them as well as a community. What is it that they're saying? What is affecting them? And what's the one question that you want to ask? Dada, just come forward. Come stand here by us. Yes. What question do you have, and who do you want to pose it to?
I would say good evening to. Good evening to Kaya FM. My best jazz Sunday. Very good for jazz Sunday and Saturday. I always listen to Kaya. And I would say now, I start with the captain, the MEC, Charmaine. She's my nearby lady that I always mix with her. And I say now today, I'm very happy to be in Kaya. I've been listening to everything that you've been saying. Here, I've got so many things here. I've got crime very high. Police very low in patrolling. The CPF is no more patrolling. The drug is sold by police. And wherever I am, it is just near my place, everywhere. There is only drug is sold. Children not working, that is not a problem. Sport facilities, it's a main thing. Now the police always say to the kids, when you talk about it, they say, buy a panda. No rehab, nobody knows about it. It is now today that I get that there is a rehab so and so in such a certain place. Now, I've got a son, exactly me. He has taken everything out of my house. When I go to the police station, they always say, go for, what do you call this? You must go and get it. Protection order. I think I've got something like 7 to 8 protection orders. Nobody's busy about it. I fight with my neighbors because of all this thing of you are whatever too much. So I know too much. Really, I do know too much. But the police never. I've got some cases that they always say, if case, if So now today, Captain, if really, with the MEC, you're going to help us. But Charmaine made us to come here. And I'm very, very happy that you're going to give us all the paperwork, where to get this, what do you call this, where the rehab. Nobody knew about it. And we're always in dark. I say to you all people, I'm not coming to shine. My name is Edward Malima Nemusunda. I am known as Eddie. The other lady knows.
Brady, thank you. Thank you very much.
Eddie Murphy.
Let's give him a huge round of applause. Let's give him a huge round of applause for coming forward. And you know, MEC Captain K. Makhubela, you know, the hardest thing to deal with is parents that have to deal with children that are drug addicts. You know, as we said earlier on, families get broken. You know, communities are torn apart, fights happen. I mean, Tate Honajwal is saying that he can't even speak to his neighbors anymore, and so on. And this is a problem that we face within our communities. I'm quickly going to go through to and do the traffic. But before we go there, he spoke about the issue of drugs being available everywhere. No policing, no police visibility, no rehab, no help from the police. Drugs also coming back into the community. So let's just go quickly to traffic, and when we come back, let's see how we start tackling those issues. Welcome back. You're listening to Today with John Perlman. I'm McFarlane Moleli. I'm standing in for John tonight, and we're speaking about the drug problem in many of our communities, but focusing today on Braam Fishcherville. And you can also take part in the conversation by tweeting at Kaya 95.9 or tweet me at Mac Moleli, and you can use the hashtag #IamClean. In studio with us today, we've got Nandi Mayathula Khoza, our social development MEC, Captain K. Makhubela, spokesperson for the South African Police Services, as well as Charmaine, a resident from Braam Fishcherville, as well as some community members from Braam Fishcherville. Earlier on, we were speaking about the issue of drugs and no policing, no visibility, no rehabilitation center, no help from the police. And I'm going to start with Captain K. Makhubela. This is, Brady came forward, and this is some of the things that he pointed out. How do we deal with this? Because they're saying they see absolutely no light.
Well, remember, police, as they are saying, they don't see police. We deploy vans according to the sectors, and those sectors are so big, and the van are patrolling from this side to that side, this side to that side. So, well, I won't say they are lying to say they don't see the vans there. I can't say that. But what we are going to do, we will make sure that this information reaches the station commander to say they need more visibility in Braam Fischer in terms of trying to prevent these drugs issues. And the issue of the, what is the other one which they said?
No help from the police, no help from the police, drugs being brought back into the community. So in other words, drug dealers in cahoots with police.
Yes, the police are selling drugs to the community. If also that it's happening, let that information be brought forward so that we can follow it up and check who are those policemen are doing that.
How do they go about that? Because it's also quite important to know what steps to follow, who to go to, because you don't want to walk into a police station and go to a policeman that is the one that is actually selling the drugs, because that is also the biggest fear that communities have.
What they must do when they have such information, let them go straight to the station commander, to the office of the station commander.
Then they ask you, what do you want here? Why do the station commander? Why? Tell me your problem, I will solve it.
Yes, if something like that happened, take that person's name, it is written here, and dial 083
083
715 3809. It will come direct to me, or you phone 082 411 5311. It will go to Colonel Ramini, and then we will make sure that your matter has been attended.
Okay, so we've dealt with the issue of visible policing. You're saying that you want to increase your sector policing so that there's greater help, and then when there's people that are dealing, or police that are dealing in drugs or involved with drug dealers, these are the two numbers to dial. We will have them on our Facebook page on Today with John Perlman, and we will be trying to give out this information as much as possible. Now we go to the issue of no rehab, MEC, and obviously the vast other problems that they have within the community to say we don't know where to go for help and there's nothing that we can do for these kids. What programs are there? How do people contact you and how do they get a hold of you? Because the community's here and they're asking for your help. It's not like they're just sitting and saying we have a problem.
Yes, no, thank you very, very much. Of course, the rehabs are there, but they are not in each and every community. I spoke about the 5 inpatient treatment centers where they go, then they stay there for 8 weeks. There would be other rehabs like your Sanka, etc., in communities, but probably it's not the in Braam Fishcherville. So I think what we will do from here, I think I'm very grateful for Charmaine for bringing the issues of Braam Fishcherville. We will take our program to Braam Fishcherville so that we work together to solve this problem. But we also encourage communities to have what we call the local drug action committees. I don't know if we have one in Braam Fishcherville. If it is not there, we will work with the local government municipality, Joburg, to assist you, because it's their job to assist you as a community to form a local drug action committee. That is a committee that works in the community with the people, with the families, etc., and they actually assist them. But we also have what we call the Gimoja campaign. Gimoja means I'm grand, I'm okay. It's for young people. It's a prevention program for young people not to take drugs. Again, if we don't have any Gimoja coaches, young people who are involved, we will work with my social workers to ensure that at least we bring those Gimoja coaches to your community. We have a bus that actually visits schools, it visits communities, a Gimoja bus. It's creating awareness, it's educating the people so that, as I said earlier on, people shouldn't really start taking drugs. I want to agree with Braedi that indeed there are huge problems in some of our communities. Unemployment is high. That's why I spoke earlier about SEPO 500,000. We encourage young people to SMS their name and an address to 45490. There will be somebody who responds to them, and they must be patient, but eventually they will be assisted with employment. But we encourage children below the age of 18 really to go back to school to get a matric. It's better to get an education so that we have more chances of actually getting employment. In as far as the facilities are concerned, we'll work with local government, with the new councillors who are going to come in to ensure that at least there are some facilities that they bring into the communities to make sure that the young people are actually involved. For rehabs, we will leave information with Kaya FM, a list of those rehabs so that people know exactly where to go. But the number that I gave earlier on, they can also give you the nearest rehab that people can actually go to.
Well, thank you very much for that, MEC. Let's quickly now go to a community member. Can you just quickly state your name and then you can give us your question?
My name is Nelsue Hlongwane. I want to just add to what Braedi just said. I just want to add up on what Braedi just said. It's not about only those people who use drugs, but their parents, what they are facing in their houses. Because there are some parents who are scared to talk about their children who come and abuse them in their houses, like still their still things, you know. Yeah. And what the minister just said. Okay.
Never.
Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous.
Okay. Like a community yethu ne sifacea inkinga eziningi which asikoni ukuthi singahamba so report, because if you go uyo reporter into bazofuna i-evidence ukuthi okay le phoyisa leli liyasebenzela vele lento le ukuthi naye udila ngama drugs yabo. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much. We've also got another question here from another community member here, and you remember that she dealt with the issue of stealing and parents that now have to be faced with drug addicts and also reporting, police asking for evidence. So let's just remember that. State your name. Another community member from Braam Fishcherville.
No, he's not.
Just for correction, my name is Sifundo Twani. I'm one of the former addicts. I'm not from Braam Fisher. I'm one of the beneficiaries of the program of TSEPO 500,000. And I'm coming also from a Bara Rehab Center. I'm actually one of the graduates there. And there's nothing much actually to say. It's just only to be thankful to the embassy and the rest of the social development, I think, for bringing such a very powerful program and for picking us up from wherever we were. And some of the guys that I've been with, they were from the streets, and they took us and they gave us such an opportunity to be able to rehabilitate ourselves and to give us another new lease on our lives. And I think one of the problems that I think young people are actually facing is I think is the problem of denial, and the help is there, and I think it shows with this program as well. And it's just that maybe we're not active enough, I think, to go out there and I think and seek for that help. And as one of the graduates actually from Bara Rehab Center, I think it was a very powerful program, and I think they've helped us so much, I think, in terms of investing such knowledge. And I think it's for the first time that I hear the lady saying that it's actually, this is a bad rehab. I think from what I've experienced as I've been there, I think you can see that
it was able to change your life.
They managed to change my life so much, and I think they just one of the best rehabs. Even to my friends, I've told them that, you know what, there's no rehab like Bara, and I think it's one of the best rehabs. I'm not here to represent them though. I'm actually here to give hope to young people out there that, you know, change is possible. And I've been also clean for 4 months, and thank you to the MEC once again. And yeah, hope.
Let's give him a huge round of applause, guys. Let's give him a huge round of applause, because it is a tough journey. It's a tough journey. I just want to quickly call Ntlantla, and I'd like for Ntlantla to please come forward. You know, and Ntlantla, I don't know how old Ntlantla is. It's just
21 today.
Ntlanta's 21 today. Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
Sanmonani. Oh, my name is Nontlantla Piuchamp. I'm 21 today, and I'm a Nyaupe addict. I want to speak about Dobsonville police station, because some other police stations, they know that we are smoking Nyaupe, and they do know where we are getting the Nyaupe from. But when they get to Abosnei money, they are just taking the money and they leave. Abantu bebe ngakhona ukuyilwisa inyawupe, mara as for government yethu swile bathi profita kakhulu kwinyawupe, so asikho sure ukuthi izoyekeka inyawupe. Mara thina as for abantu ababhema inyawupe siyafuna ukuzekelela inyawupe yabo. Aswathola ama rehab, we've been attending ama rehab amaningi aphelele emoyeni. Siye ema clinic basiteste nokusitesta, mara still ayikho into eyenzakalayo. So kufike usisi Charmaine as offer ukuzosinceda lapha eCharitin. It sounds like a blessing, yeah.
Nontlantla, I just want to ask you a question. Do you want to stop taking Nyaupe? Do you want to change your life around?
I do want to stop Nyaupe.
Let's give a huge round of applause, because the first step is actually admitting to the problem and trying to find something to do. And I'm going to go directly to our MEC here. Here's a young girl, 21 years old. She's got a baby in her hand. She's admitting to the fact that she is taking Nyaupe. And you know, you look at her and you even look at the future that she's holding in her hands. And you know, I think as a mother, as an MEC, you know, it's a challenge to you to say, how do we help her? How do we change her life? And how do we create a future for this poor child?
Yeah. Thank you very much. First of all, let's say happy birthday to you. Thank you very much. We wish you all the best. We are happy and excited that you have accepted that you are taking drugs. And I think one of the young people were saying the problem is denial. So you are actually admitting today that taking Nyaupe is a problem, and you want to change your life. And the young person has already said that you can change your life because he has changed his life. So it's possible, it can be done. I'd like you to register yourself to this lady. I'm going to take you to one of my rehabs, and because maybe Christian is guaranteed to be one of the best, you will probably go there, or to Dr. F&F, because you've said you want to go. You want to go there voluntarily. So we will assist you. Must sort out the issue of the child. where is the child going to be, be kept or taken care of. Perhaps we have a rehab that also takes care of babies. I'm not too sure. We will actually find out. But I'm just worried about the statement that says government profits from Yawupe. I want you to explain so that we can deal with these problems that you are, resurfacing. I don't know about that. I want to understand what you mean, because from where I stand, I'm representing government. We as government in Gauteng, in local government, do not want to profit from Yawupe, if I understand you. But we want to help you as young people to stop taking drugs. That's why we want to take you to the rehab. You'll get all sorts of treatment. There's psychosocial support, emotional support, health, medicinal support, etc. You'll get all sorts of support so that you as a person can be able to be self-reliant at the end of the training, and then you go and get whatever skills that you want. At the end, we want to see you getting a job and feeding that child and letting that child grow and become, a better person tomorrow.
Thank you very much, our MEC. That's a commitment that our MEC has made today, and I think we end off this program on a very, very high note, and we will be following in Nonhlanhla. Before you go away, please make this commitment. Go through the program. It's not it's also about the baby as well. We need to create a future for her as well. So let us please do everything that we can to try and help her. As you can see, the MEC has made a firm commitment to try and help you. So go to that lady, get her information, and let's try and help her as much as we can. Thank you to the Braam Fishcherville community. Thank you to Captain Makhubela. Thank you very much to our MEC. Charmaine, thank you very much for bringing these guys here. Thank you very much for the work that you're doing. And thanks to Kai FM. Everyone have a wonderful night. Let's continue this conversation, and let's keep fighting the scourge and the drug problem in our country. Good evening.